Hello everybody, I'm Buddy Hardigree with the Region 8 Sports Report. We've got highlights, we've got scores, we've got the schedule, and it's all coming up right here on the Region 8 Sports Report. Hello everybody, I'm Buddy Hardigree with the Region 8 Sports Report. We've got some highlights for you, we've got some scores for you, we've got the standings for you, we've got next week's schedule for you, all coming up this week on the report, so stay with us. First, we're going to start off with the highlights, and we've got highlights for you from the Jefferson-North Hall game. Jefferson and North Hall played up in Jefferson on Friday night, and of course, as you can tell by looking around, this is not Friday night. Actually, as I'm taping this is Monday morning. We had a little electrical problem at the game Friday night, so we only had enough power just to get the game, so we couldn't do the pre-games and all the other information there. So we're doing it now and tack it onto the front of the program. So we've got the Jefferson highlights coming up for you momentarily, and we've got all the scores from all around the region, including the scores of the Winder-Barrow-Appalachian Battle of Barrow that took place on Friday night. And we'll also take a look at the standings as they are now in Region 8, 6A through down to 1A. And we've got the schedule for this weekend's upcoming games, and we've got some biggies for you coming up this weekend, and we will tell you all about those coming up later on in the program. First of all, let's start with the highlights. We've got Jefferson North Hall highlights. The game played Friday night at Jefferson High School at the Jefferson Stadium, and we've got the highlights for you coming up right now, and then we'll be back with more. So let's roll those highlights. This week's highlights come from the North Hall Trojans traveling down to the Jefferson Dragons for a good game here. And we have the opening kickoff. North Hall kicking off to Jefferson to start the game. And Jefferson takes the kick back and returns to near the 20-yard line. Jefferson wastes no time, starting with number 18, Bryce Moore, passing to Caleb Cooley for 10 yards. Then again, number 19 for 29 yards out to the North Hall 42. Caleb Cooley takes it down to the 6-yard line, which sets up the next play. On third down, Bryce Moore hits Joseph Randolph for a 3-yard touchdown pass. The point after touchdown is good. And Jefferson is on the scoreboard, leading by a score of 7-0. North Hall can't get the offense online, so Jefferson takes over, but 18 Bryce Moore's pass all the way down the field is picked off by North Hall. Tyrick Dozier picks the pass off and returns it back up near the 30-yard line. But again, North Hall cannot get the offense going, and Jefferson goes back on offense. Bryce Moore hits Chaz Evans, who avoids a couple of heads and gets down to the North Hall 11-yard line. And the quarter ends right there. Next, Colby Woods gets the ball down to the 6-yard line. Then Woods again takes it into the end zone for the score. Point after touchdown is good. And Jefferson now leads by a score of 14-0. Jefferson back on offense again. This time number 26 carries the ball for 9 yards. Then he runs for 10 yards. Then Bryce Moore airs out the pass for 28 yards down to Caleb Cooley, down to the 26-yard line. Then he hits Caleb Cooley at the 12-yard line. And Darian Hill rambles down to the 2-yard line. And then he carries the ball on into the end zone on the next play. Point after touchdown is good. And Jefferson now leads by a score of 21-0. In the third quarter, and here we go again with the Dragons. Caleb Wood going 52 yards for another Dragon touchdown. Point after touchdown is good, and Jefferson is up by a score of 28-0. North Hall tries to get things moving. Cutter Sanford carries from the 9-yard line out to the 22-yard line, but the drive stalls and Jefferson is back on offense again. Now watch as North Hall almost gets a pick six here. Sam Jackson just missed getting a 6-pointer right there. No score, but it stops the Dragons and North Hall is back on offense. Cutter Sanford gets down for 5 yards. Then he gets 6 more. But again, the drive stalls and Jefferson gets the ball back. Wood runs for 12 yards. Then Darian Hill runs for 11 yards. Darian Hill again, this time an 8-yard gain. Bryce Moore hits Justin Cole for 9 yards. And the third quarter comes to an end. Then Darian Hill caps the drive with a 2-yard run. And again, another touchdown for Jefferson. Point after touchdown is good. And Jefferson leads by a score of 35-0. And that's the way the game would end. Jefferson now 3-0 on the year. And North Hall starting out their season with a loss. They are now 0-1. Jefferson will travel to Commerce for a huge game coming up next Friday night. And North Hall will be hosting West Hall. We'll be back with more of the Region 8 Sports Report right after this. Welcome back to the Region 8 Sports Report. Just a half an hour with us every week, and you get caught up on everything that's going on in Region 8 sports, from Region 8 6A all the way down to Region 8 1A. Time to take a look at the scores now for the games played the week of September 4th. That's last Friday night. Starting with Region 8 6A, it was Monday's Mill over Central Gwinnett by a score of 35-20. Mill Creek handed Decula their first loss of the year by a score of 34-7. Grayson took a 21-0 lead into the locker room at halftime and came out in the second half and built the lead up to as much as 42-7. The final score was Grayson 56, Hughes 21. Westlake over Shiloh by a score of 35-0. South Gwinnett and Collins Hill were tied at 14-14 at the end of regulation, but in overtime the Comets held Collins Hill to a field goal, then South Gwinnett scored a touchdown. The final score was 20-17 South Gwinnett. Take a look now at the games of Region 8 5A, starting with Winder Barrow and Appalachia, the Battle of Barrow. Winder Barrow won this year by a score of 45-0. Lanier scored 19 points in the second quarter and held on to beat Clark Central 36-20. Loganville led Flowery Branch 28-0 by halftime. Loganville offense had 209 yards in the first half compared to 27 for Flowery Branch. Loganville quarterback Cam Perkins was 10 for 12 passing for 139 yards and 3 touchdowns. The final score was 35-0 Loganville. Salem defeated Heritage by a score of 33-7. Now let's move on to Region 8 4A. McEachern led 17-14 midway through the third quarter, but then scored 17 unanswered points. Running back Sam Jackson rushed for 91 yards on 14 carries. Quarterback Bailey Hockman passed for 237 yards and 3 touchdowns to lead Keechern to a 37-14 win over Buford. West Hall defeated Chastity 42-3. It was Banks County over Johnson by a score of 27-14. Eastside handed Madison County their third straight loss by a score of 38-10. Monroe area squeaks by Walnut Grove by a score of 28-27. As you saw here, the highlights that we had for the Jefferson North Hall game, Jefferson won by a score of 35-0. In another close game, it was Elbert County over Stevens County, 34-30. And as we said, Jackson County over White County, 17-0. Now let's move to Region 8 3A. As we told you, Elbert County over Stevens County, 34-30. It was Hart County over Franklin County by a score of 38-25. Jackson County over White County 17-0. And as we already mentioned, Jefferson over North Hall 35-0. And Putnam County over Morgan County 13-10. And it was Athens Christian and Oconee County a winner by a score of 41-7. Moving to Region 8 AA, Hancock Central and Greene County a winner by a score of 20-0. Prince Avenue Christian over Oglethorpe County 48-12. It was Rabun County picking up their second win of the year by defeating Mount Pisgah 35-10. Union County over Lumpkin County by a score of 51-28. It was Wilkinson County over Washington Wilkes 39-34. Now moving to Region 8 Single A, it was Athens Christian and Oconee County, the game we already talked about. Oconee County a winner by a score of 41-7. Commerce over Hebron Christian by a score of 35-0. Lakeview Academy defeated St. Francis 20-7. It was Prince Avenue Christian over Oglethorpe County 48-12. Whitfield County defeated Providence 40-0. And Mount Vernon over Towns County 35-7. And finally, it was Holy Innocents over George Walton by a score of 17-6. And that gets you up to date on all the scores from September the 4th weekend here on the Region 8 Sports Report. Now it's time to take a look at the games that are scheduled to come up this weekend here on the Region 8 Sports Report. We'll take a look at the games that are scheduled for September 11th, 2015, starting with Region 8 6A. And we'll start with the battle of the undefeateds, Archer and Grayson at Grayson. Going to kick it off Friday night. Both teams are undefeated and should be an interesting game between those two. Berkmar will be at Decula. Parkview will travel across town to Brookwood to take on the Broncos. And South Gwinnett will be at Central Gwinnett. A couple of the Gwinnett County schools going at it. Those are the games of Region 8 6A. Now moving to Region 8 5A. Salem will travel up to take on the Appalachia Wildcats. And then in a big game going on in Athens, Clark County, Cedar Shoals and Clark Central, crosstown rivals, will take on each other, and that'll be going on at Clark Central High School this Friday night. Lanier will be at Flowery Branch. Gainesville travels down from Hall County to take on the Winder Barrow Bulldogs at Clara Harris Stadium in Winder. Heritage will be at Loganville, and those are the games of Region 8 5A. Moving on now to the games of Region 8 4A. Pepperell will be at Chestatee. West Hall travels over to North Hall, cross-county rivals. North Cobb will be at Monroe area. Lumpkin County at Johnson. Stevens County will be taking on Blue Ridge. White County will take on Pace Academy. And those are the games in Region 8 4A. Moving on to Region 8 3A. Banks County will be at East Jackson. Elbert County travels to Westminster. Thompson will be at Hart County. Rabun County will be traveling down to Jackson County to take on the Panthers. Jefferson will be at Commerce. Now, this is a rival game that goes back beyond time, I think. Jefferson and Commerce have played each other almost every year as far as back as I can remember, and it's always a big crosstown rivalry, cross-county rivalry anyway. Jefferson and Commerce at Commerce this Friday night. Morgan County will be at Greene County. And Oconee County will travel down to Putnam County, and that gets us up to date on all the games being played in Region 8 AAA coming up this Friday night. Games in Region 8 AA, Morgan County at Greene County, as we've already mentioned, that being one of those games that goes across two different regions, 8A and 8 AA and 8 AAA. Athens Academy will be at Oglethorpe County. Rabun County at Jackson County. Hapeville travels up to Riverside Military Academy. Social Circle will be at Temple. Union County will travel up to Andrews, South Carolina. And Jefferson County, now not Jefferson City, but Jefferson County travels over to Washington Wilkes. Now take a look at the games in Region 8 Single A. Region 8A, Athens Academy and Oglethorpe County, as we've already told you about. Jefferson and Commerce, big rivalry game there, we've already told you about. Prince Avenue travels over to George Walton Academy. And Towns County will travel to Lakeview Academy. And that gets you up to date on all of the upcoming games scheduled in Region 8, in Region 8 6A, all the way down to Single A, here on the Region 8 Sports Report. We're going to take a break now, and we will come back and take a look at the standings and let you know how each team is setting up in the standings. We'll take a look at that right after this break on the Region 8 Sports Report. right, time to check the standings now for the teams in Region 8, starting with 6A, going all the way down to Region 1A. And be advised that these are overall records. We don't have it cut down into region or sub-region records. As a matter of fact, I don't think there are any sub-regions. Everything's just region records. But these are overall records, including all games played so far, no region records, because some of the teams may have played region games, but not all of them. Now, next week we will have them subdivided into non-region records, their overall record rather, and their region records. So there'll be 2 sets of numbers for each team starting next week. Looking at 8-6A, and we have Archer with a 2-0 record, Parkview also at 2-0, and Grayson at 2-0 this week. The 1-1 teams include Central Gwinnett, Decula, and South Gwinnett, all at 1-1, and Shiloh, Berkmar, and Brookwood at 0-2, still looking for their first wins of the season. In Region 8, 5A, that's a 8 with the 5 A's behind it. Lanier is at 2-0. Loganville and Salem also at 2-0. Flowery Branch, 1-1 after picking up a loss last week. Winder Barrow got a win over Appalachia, and that is, by the way, a region win, so it'll show up in the region column next week. But Winder Barrow is 1-1. Cedar Shoals, 0-1. Gainesville, 0-1. Heritage 0-1, Appalachia is 0-2, and Clark Central also at 0-2. Moving to Region 8, 4A, 8 Quad A, Buford top of the leaderboard, but they have a loss. Wow, Buford with a loss? That's the first time in how many years? Buford 2-1 after their loss to McEachern last week. Stevens County is 1-1. Monroe area also at 1-1. Johnson is 1-2. North Hall 0-1. They played their first game and got their first loss against Jefferson. We saw the highlights just a few minutes ago. Chestatee is 0-2. White County also at 0-2. North Oconee 0-2, and Madison County with 0-3. 3 losses on the season so far for the Red Raiders. Moving to Region 8, AAA, 8-3A, Jefferson at 3-0, and all alone at the top with those 3 wins. Elbert County right behind them, though, with a 2-0 record. Also, Hart County with a 2-0 record as well, and Jackson County with a 2-0 record as well. Oconee County at 1-0, East Jackson 1-1, and Morgan County at the bottom of the stack with a 0-2 record. Moving to Region 8, AA, 8-2A. Greene County with a 2-0 record. Union County also 2-0. Rabun County at 2-1. Social Circle at 1-0. Riverside Military Academy 0-1. Oglethorpe County 0-2. And Washington Wilkes at 0-2 as well. Moving to Region 8, Single A. Commerce with a 2-0 record. Prince Avenue also at 2-0. Athens Academy and Hebron Christian both with 2-1 records. Lakeview Academy at 1-1. Athens Christian 1 win and 1 loss. Providence Christian 0-2. Towns County is 0-2. And George Walton Academy also at 0-2. And that gets you up to date on all the region standings for all the teams in Region 8, all the way from Region 8 6A all the way down to Region 8A. So everybody's records are set and right there before you, and we'll see what happens next week when they meet up. It's got some very interesting games coming up this weekend, so obviously some shuffling around to go on the leaderboard next week. But anyway, that's this week's Region 8A through 6A standings here on the Region 8 Sports Report. Okay, we'll take one final break, and then we'll be back and wrap it up for you right after this on the Region 8 Sports Report. Back once again with the Region 8 Sports Report. Let's see now, we got you up to date on all the scores from last week. We had the Jefferson North Hall highlights. We've looked at the standings, and we've looked at this weekend's upcoming games. What more is there to say? Can't think of anything. So go out and enjoy a high school football game this weekend, and be sure and tune in next weekend for the Region 8 Sports Report. I'm Buddy Hardigree. Bye. If you have any questions or comments concerning the program, you can email us at av1productions30680@gmail.com. Once again, that's av1productions30680@gmail.com. Or regular mail, AV1 Productions, 1021 Jefferson Highway, Winder, Georgia 30680. Again, that's AV1 Productions, 1021 Jefferson Highway, Winder, Georgia 30680.